kick it. And I said, tell Jackie, how hard? He said, kick it hard.
So who's holding the shield now? The stuntman.
I stunned him. And so Jackie wants to see him hit this.
Now, Sammo and Young View, they're not there. It's just Jackie and his
Just
stuntman.
Jackie and his team. So I said, okay. So I just didn't get it. Boom, hit this guy. He goes flying back, hits the ground, and he's down. So they all the other stunt guys all run over there. His nose is bleeding, his teeth, because when I hit it, he went like this, and it just smashed his face. And they're looking at him, and Jackie looks at him and goes, he puts his thumbs up, and I thought,
That's it.
then, look, and he goes, okay. So then Jackie goes in there, and there's a hallway, maybe 3.5 to 4 feet wide. And it's pretty long, maybe 30 feet long. And I'm looking, and so Jackie goes. So I come, and I'm behind him, and he does round up, flip flop, all the way down. And he gets to the end, and he stops, and then he goes. And I said, what do you want me to do? He says, can you do that? I said, I'm not a gymnast, and I can try.
Yeah.
So I did round up, flip flop, then I'm crashing into the wall. And then I just got up and said, I'm not a gymnast, I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
And Jackie looks at me and goes, I said, what's with this guy, man?
He's checking your character.
Yeah, he's going thumbs up. Then he says, he goes out there and he says, to his interpreter, the interpreter says, Jackie's going to do a little something. And he wants you to watch him. I said, so Jackie does spins and this and that. And he does whooshy movement, this and that. And I look at him, I go, so I asked for what I said, can you have one of his stunt guys get in front of me? So all of a sudden, the guy, I said, like this, and he goes like this. And I said, just tell him to stay there. Don't move. Tell him not to move at all. But this guy just looked at me. I did a jump. I jumped up with a jump spinning wheel kick over his head, landed, did a drop dragon sweep. He went down. I came up, stopped him with my toes on his chest. But I don't use my heel. I stopped him with my toes. And I stomped him with my toes. When I did this, I jumped, I kicked up. As I kicked up, I went like this to him, and I just stopped. And Jackie looked at me, and his eyes were like this.
That's awesome.
Like,
you're getting a lot of thumbs up. It's all
It's all like he's great right now.
I got thumbs up and eyes up.
Yeah.
Because now he's realizing I didn't hurt him.
Yeah.
He wanted to see if I had
the control, because you're going to be doing this with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he wanted to see, and he wanted to see what I could do. So he saw me jump, maybe a foot over this guy's head, put him down. I hit, and he said to him, did that hurt? And he said, no. It was a little shocking because I didn't know what he was doing. But I hit him with my toes and just on the stomach. Hit his on the stomach and picked up and put this across his chest to his neck. And I went like this and brought it back up. So he knew I could go right to his throat. Yeah, I just went like this and brought it back up. And I got up, and Jackie looked at us. So he got 2 of his guys, and they choreographed something with 2 of his guys. And he goes, so I said, oh, you want to? So I got him up, and I looked at him, and he goes, so I said, I point him, and he point the taller guy and the smaller one. I said, you, and then I gave him, and I gave him a magazine, wrote it up, give it to him, and he got here, and all of a sudden I choreographed a little fight scene. And after that, Jackie said,
That's
he didn't want to see no more.
that was it.
So what he was,
That's the audition.
well, what he was doing, sorry, go ahead.
And then he said to me, he said, okay, now he's going to write the script.
So he was going right around your character.
Yeah.
And that's when you ended up. So you're done in Hong Kong. You fly back to LA. How long after that do you end up in Barcelona?
Probably 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Now, there's a very interesting fight scene where you fight at the bulldozer.
Mhm.
Did you have, of course, the last fight scene with Jackie on Sensei Benny is one of the best ever.
Best ever. Literally,
I
the
mean,
best ever.
it is fabulous. Did you have anything to do with the choreography, or was it more Sammo and his guys came in, did the choreography, and then you just mimicked their moves?
I did all the choreography.
You did all yours. So was that they just said, so Ben, you do
This
this?
is what they did. They got their team together. They audibled this and that for the fight, and then they came up with this and this. They looked at me and they said, "In other words,
So it was like a back and
what are
forth.
you gonna do?"
That's awesome.
So I said, after I looked at it, I said, "I'm gonna do this," and I went boom, 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 because I want to look good.
It's
I-
also a good way.
It's muscle.
Sometimes the other person will come up with stuff to go, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was
And you
good.
can make things, it's a good way of meshing things, and it's probably a faster way to do choreography.
And it probably is faster.
It is faster.
Back
for
and
sure.
forth. But who came up with the comedic timing? Because there's comedic elements to his fights. I think what made him stand out. You know, Bruce Lee was all in it with emotion, where Jackie hit you and you go, you know what I mean? And that really brought
No, because
attention.
he did that. So when he did it, we did a second take of it. I went like that.
Yeah. You were like, I love that. Yeah.
When you have them backing up against the table and you do the spinning hook kick and you put out the candles, did you actually put out the
The
candles?
first time I did it, put the candle up.
So the take in the movie's the first take.
Yeah, and then the second one, I pulled the hamstring,
Ooh.
trying to do it again. Yeah, I tried to do it again because they wanted to do it so more. They tried to do it again, and I mean, I really went at it, but I missed it.
So when you were doing that fight scene, who was responsible? And of course, everybody had an input, yourself included. But who really was responsible? Was it Sammo and his team were going, we'll shoot this angle, that angle? So who was really responsible for all the angles? You and Jackie. And was Sammo there when you guys shot your fight scene?
That's so awesome.
Yeah. But we
And did you have a to and fro with Sammo where he said, maybe try this penny, you said try that? No, he was just there.
he was there to
Yeah.
shoot.
How many?
Not even once he came in and said, "What about this? What about that?"
So he was
And it
actually
shows so much respect. I mean, the respect there is
Because he didn't know me, but he didn't know what I can do.
right.
And when I started doing things, remember, we were doing something that nobody's ever done.
Yeah.
We were doing hitting for real, and we were actually doing contact to the point where Sammo never seen any of that. And he didn't know me. He
Yeah.
didn't know what I can do. And when I was choreographing my own, he just shut up.
And that's what I was going to ask too, because you could tell you guys are making contact.
Yeah.
I mean, you can 100% see it. Were either of you padded up at all? Like, did you have to pad up to take falls or
No,
no?
because I was wearing something that you can see if you had a pad on. You
Yeah,
can see
yeah, you'd see through it. Yeah.
How many days did you shoot the last fight scene in? How many was it? A couple of weeks? Just
It was
a couple of
we
week?
shot it. I mean, we actually stood on this on, like, you know how these go back. We had these little beach chairs. They went back. We just put some covers over us. Got up in the morning.
So when you shot that, it was all shot on location, no set.
Observation.
So when did it take to shoot? A couple of weeks? But they spend a lot of time shooting because
Oh, yeah.
a lot of coverage.
Well, that's because we had
And it's complex.
different. First of all, different speeds, different limbs. Yeah. Depending on the sun was out, the sun was not out. I mean, we worked around it to make it so when they edit it, it looks so it all looks they can edit it
Yeah, it looks the
without
same.
where it looks like how do you get there with that kind of from here he was lit up, now he's dark, or we have to make it blend.
So let's jump forward to 87. You end up duking it out with Jackie again in what's one of the best movies ever to come out of Hong Kong. And it was being made in 87 for the release of Chinese New Year in 88, because Jackie's goal was always to release a movie Chinese New Year.
That's right.
And so how do you get the call for that? Are you Jackie again?
Jackie his guy called and Jackie was right there and called and they said, Jackie's here, but he wants me. Well, because you know what, Jackie was constant. Anytime he had a chance, he would sit next to me. I was really uncomfortable because he sit right next to me and he wanted to, and I would be like this, you know. I said, man, what's wrong with this guy? And but he wanted to practice his English.
Oh, so he's listening to everything.
Listening to what I was saying, and he was practicing. So we actually, he was learning English in the first one. The second one, he was better.
Yeah.
He was much better in the second one. So he never sat next to me on the second one,
Right.
but we were facing each other talking. And so,
So talk to us a little bit in Dragons Forever. Why did it darken your eyes?
because again, they realized, I don't know if it was by mistake, but because of the lighting, made my eyes look darker because they looked like they sunk in. It looked like I didn't have eyes.
Made you look more evil.
Made me look
Sounds
scary.
awesome.
Scary, yeah, it's scary. Yes.
They made me look like, man, this guy, you know, does he have eyes or he doesn't have eyes or, you know, they were,
It stood out.
yeah.
It stood out.
That was,
It adds an element to
everybody
your
out because of it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
was that again shot on location or was that a set that was built? That was on in a factory somewhere in Hong Kong.
Some on location, some on set.
So you're filming with Jackie. What's the comparison between Wheels and Meals and Dragons Forever? Because obviously now he doesn't need to test your abilities anymore. It's more straightforward, I'm assuming. So how long did it take you guys to shoot that? Because in many ways, that fight scene, in many ways, overall, I wouldn't say it's a better fight scene, but it's right. They're really
They're both really good.
so.
The reason for that is because we already knew each other. He knew I had impeccable control. He knew that I could take the impact. And he knew that I took nothing personal.
Now, when he kicks you at the end on the chest, that's not him. That's Chin Carlock.
Yeah.
At least in the film,
Yes.
the cut that shoots, the take that shoots. Why was that? Was Jackie injured or what happened from the fight scene? So they just cut in Chin Carlock.
That's it.
How was he hurt? What happened?
Basically, you know, it was by then we were going full blast. Why? Because we knew we could.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, flipping, moving, doesn't matter. Sometimes you don't warm up enough. And it's cool.
Yeah.
Or you overextend. And sometimes you could, and we're moving quickly. They had to slow down the camera because we were moving too fast.
Yeah.
They kept on saying, slow it down. And it says, this is normal speed. We're moving. He says, slow it down. The camera can't catch what you're doing. So the only way they can catch it is to go high speed and then slow you down because we can't see what you're doing.
How was it working with Yuen?
Oh, that was fun.
I was just with him in Hong Kong.
That was,
That was he can move. You know, the interesting thing, I asked him to do a kip up. He got down
without his,
he got down
with the leg.
Yeah, he got down like a man of his age today, and he just went, and he came up like a 20-year-old.
Yes.
I was like, kidding me?
Yeah.
And this was just recently when you were over there.
8 months ago,
Yeah.
6 months, whatever. When I was there,
Yeah.
yeah. And he talked very highly about you. He's in Vancouver as we speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when did you get the call to do the Roadhouse stuff? Because at that time you had already done some amazing fight scenes. Did the production sought after you? Did they come after you? Or how did that come about?
First of all, it was Chuck Norris's he passed away. I can't remember my dad. I can't remember good martial artist, but he was Chuck Norris's
Howard Jackson?
no, not Howard Jackson, the other one, he heavier set he passed away. I did the movie I did with him, and I can't remember his kid, and but he passed away, and but he
Pat Johnson.
Pat Johnson,
From, of course,
Yeah.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. Enter the Dragon,
Very
Karate
awesome.
Kid. I mean, Pat Johnson has done it all.
So he's the one that already knew. He already knew because when I did exhibitions, he once said, "That looks so real."
Because he was a ref.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, that looks so real." And I said, I'm good with live audience. If I can't do it with a live audience, they wouldn't leave me on the camera.
Yeah.
But I had people with live audience. I had them hooey hopping on their seats. I had one. She said, "I can't believe you made me pee in my pants." And I said, "I can't believe you just said it. I can't believe it." So she said to me, "You made you eat my pants." And I just said, I said, if I'm going to be believable, I have to capture people's emotions. I have to make you believe it is possible. Right. And he says, and that's what I do.
I have to bridge that gap then so he's the one that put you. Now, when you first met Patrick Swayze, obviously it's Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
He's an ass of his own, but he's an athlete too, But he had a hurt knee, correct?
Yes.
At that time. So how was it working with him?
I mean, basically, when it came down to it, I asked him, "Do you have a double?" And he said, "You." I said, "I'm going to double you."
Oh, he wanted you to double.
And I said, "Do you want?" He says, "But I want to do this myself." I said, "So why do you need a double?" He said, "In case something should happen." I said, "Okay." I said, "And that's all fair." And so I said, "I need training with you. I need to understand you." Okay. And so he said, "What does that mean?" I said, "I need to understand you. I need to see your, just the way you move. I need to see it." And he goes, "Okay, we'll train at my house, in my ranch." And I go over there and I just watch him the way he walks, how he talks, how he eats, how he picks up things, how he moves. I just watch him. And I said, "Okay." So he says, "So, in the choreograph, this is the character I'm playing, And he told me, "This is how I'm going to play my character." I said, "Okay." Now that I know how you're going to play your character, you know how I see it from you? And he said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You move like a panther." And he says, "What does that mean?" I said, "You move like a panther, a black panther." He said, "What does that mean?" I said, "The way you walk, the motion of it, you remind me of a black panther. You remind me of, and that's how I'm going to choreograph you." And he said, "What?" And I said, "I'm trusting in you could do what I'm going to show you, but trust in me that I know, hey, I'm going to move you like a black cat." And so in that, all the moves I did, I made it catty.
Yeah, he's a dancer. He's smooth. It's great. How was working with Marshall Teague? And how did those two?
Marshall T, he was funny, but he was serious.
Yeah.
Strict Shotokan, Japanese. I'm talking about hard style. I mean,
His character stands out. He plays that character very well.
they couldn't pick a better person.
No, he's awesome.
And so when I worked with him, I already knew he was a black belt, so I didn't want to give him. I said, "I'm not going to change you. You look like you're going to have bear moves." He said, "What?" I said, "You remind me of a bear." And he said, "What?" I said, "You remind me of bear medicine, bear moves. A bear strikes you, his claws will go right through you like an accordion, man, strip you up." And I said, all my moves I choreograph for you, it should be like a bear.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, yes." And I said, "Good." Because every time you hate, you're going to tear somebody apart. But he says, he started getting hyped and he says, "Okay." By then, I won him over right off the bat. That's because I already knew, man, he was already strong. He was game for anything.
And they truly were making contact, correct?
Oh,
Can you walk us through some of that?
You know what? See, with T, Argent T didn't care.
Yeah.
He was okay with all the contact and this and that. But I was saying, Patrick, he was all game for it. But I was telling Marshall, if you hurt him, okay, some of that pay is gonna come out of you.
Yeah.
And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I was kidding."
Yeah.
But
it hurts
what
the
I was saying,
production.
because it's somebody's gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I said, every time he is not on front of that camera, it's gonna cost the production, which could have been your bonus.
Yeah.
I was actually talking about me.
Yeah.
But anyway, he said, I said, T, I don't want to change you. I just want to do, when I choreograph, I'm going to do bare moves on you, okay? And he said, I said, because that's what you remind me of. Powerful. When you strike with such powerful, and you're going to not hit circles, you're going to hit through people. And he goes,
Who came up with the pulling of the larynx out of the? You came up with that? Yeah.
I mean, because he was telling me,
Yeah.
I want to do something. So I showed him a different move.
Yeah.
So I showed him this, but he said, "How about if I rip?" Did you ever see the move
Yeah.
when you put your finger in somebody's throat?
Yeah.
Lock up.
Yeah.
I did this to him. And he goes, "Man, that's real."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah," but he says, "How about if I do that and turn it and take his throat out?" And I said, "You cannot put your hands inside,
Yeah.
turn it and pull out." I said, "But what you can do, look like you're doing a cobrado and turn your finger sideways and pull it out this way." I said, "That you can do. And you could go into it, grab the lyric, and pull it."
Because that is one of the most iconic scenes. I mean, people talk about that to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's phenomenal. How did Gladiator come about? Because these are two of my favorite movies, to be honest. Two of some of my favorite movies. I got a lot of faves, but Gladiator, that is a hidden gem.
Yeah.
For
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
It is. But it asked me, because they already seen the films and what I've done. They asked me, because he was like, I took 42 pounds off him.
Off of James Marshall.
No, off of
The main character.
Yeah.
The older gentleman.
yes,
Uh,
his age.
The guy that played Horn. I'm having a brain party. He was in Rambo.
Brian Denny.
Brian Denny.
Denny.
Yeah, Brian
I
Denny.
took 42 pounds off him.
That's
I
great.
trained.
He still big.
He trained with everybody. I had everybody trained 3 times. Trained everybody, this and that. But then I trained him personally as well.
Yeah.
But you know what? He says, "I'm training with everybody." And I said, "You train and you put as much as you can. You back away when you can, but you come right back into it, back away." But you know what? Even the running, he wanted to run with everybody. Even if he ran and walked right and walk, he wanted to train with everybody.
He's a professional.
And
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, took 42 pounds off him.
That's freaking awesome. So out of the three, the three that stood out to me in that movie, obviously James Marshall being the main character, but you have Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yes.
is just an athlete, man. And then John Cena, we were talking about
Yeah,
him
John
previously. Take me through some of the stuff that you worked with them guys on. Did you have them spar? Were they,
You know what? The main thing is, first of all, always a foundation. Always a foundation. That's all. Built the foundation. I build on it by the script, by the story, by the actor. That's how I created right there. Then instead of saying, okay, on this script it says this is what did it say. It was telling me a story, but
Yeah.
it didn't tell. He punched here, he went to the door, he sat down, he come up, he grabbed the knife. We created it as we went. But the main thing is I want to see what they can do. That's why I train them all together. When I work on a movie, I get everybody together. I train everybody together, and that way everybody gets the feel of everybody.
Yeah, synergy creates a lot of synergy.
And so that way I can see on each individual how I'm going to train them and take them apart as their character. That's what I did.
So in 1994,
Oh yeah, I'm good. Keep going.
in 1994, you worked on Van Damme Street Fighter.
That's right.
So talk to us. How did that job come about? Of course, you work with Damien Chapa, Byron Man, and you trained them, and so on and so and Kylie Minogue and everybody there. So it was almost like a training camp, right? In Thailand.
They already knew.
How did it come about? And how was your experience with Jean-Claude?
They, matter of fact, they're the ones that's they said everybody asked for me.
That's awesome.
Since that what they asked for me. And so the director called me and said, I saw some of your stuff and this and that. I'd like to meet with you. I said, absolutely. So we met here. We talked. And after we talked, he says, we'll send you. He said, we'll send you air flight, a plane, this is this. I said, well, are we gonna go to at least how much I'm gonna ask for? How much this and this? He says, I see up there, we're talking about it up there. So they already knew they weren't.
But in the times I brought it up with Jean-Claude, he has fond memories of you guys taking photographs out in the fields, and
We had a blast, all of us, him and I, we had a blast. But sometimes I had to keep my eye on them. Bro.
now, and you've worked on many movies. So we don't unfortunately have time to talk about it now.
Yeah.
But just to kind of circle back a little bit, Jackie was well aware of you in Hong Kong. I don't know the exact date, but probably from the late 70s, early 80s, maybe even earlier. And he brought you in for Meals on Wheels in what, 83?
Something it was a little earlier than that.
81 or 80, 82.
It was earlier.
Yeah, and then you did Dragons Forever. And you went on and worked on many productions, but then about 12, 14, I can't remember the year exactly. Circle back around, you worked with Jackie and John Cusack again on another project. How was that, and how did that come about?
Well,
The name of it escapes me right now. What was the name of it?
We worked on Grosse Point Blank too, right? You did Grosse Point Blank. Did you do that or no? The Grosse Point Blank with John Cusack. I did that as well.
Yeah, but then we can go on a bit.
Yeah, that was really good.
The one we did, it was Jackie was a soldier and John Cusack was a boatman. So,
Yes.
and so they asked me to come in because they knew that I worked with both of them.
Yeah.
And I could get a little creative with both of them.
Dragon Blade.
Yeah.
Dragon Blade.
So that's what that was about. And they both wanted me to come.
So let's circle back a little bit now to 1980. You're a legend. You're already winning, beating everybody, winning every trophy and belt and so on. But there's the accolade that you can accomplish and win and all that. And you open up what became a very famous location for anybody around the world called the Jet Center. Talk to us a little bit about that. What was the growth? How did that come about?
We were in Japan, Blinky and I. And
So just for the audience, Blinky, we're referring to Blinky Rodriguez, that is Sensei Benny's brother-in-law.
That's right.
Technically brother.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
He was in the family since he's been
Correct. Yeah. So
he's my brother.
So you're in Japan.
I'm in Japan and we're talking, having a good time and this and that. And he says, yeah, we need to do something different. And Blinky was saying, what do you mean? I said, we need to do something different. Everybody's doing the same old, same old, same old, same old. And that's he goes, okay. Then he got called and he went to go do something. And I went, and I'm thinking, I need some paper. And I just happened to have a pencil. And I said, I need some paper. And I couldn't find it. So I went in the bathroom and I got toilet paper. I got toilet paper and I got some toilet paper. And I was thinking, if I opened up a dojo, what would it be like? What would I like? So I got toilet paper and I started drawing the Jet Center on toilet paper. And I kept on drawing things that I wanted to finish out in my mind. What I would like to see happen. Then I got the October, wrapped it up in my pocket. Lady came and he says, I said, please, take it out. This is going to be the next dojo. But he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to open up the next dojo like this. Look out the toilet paper. And I said, this is what it's going to be like. And then I opened it up. I said, the inside, this is what I want. I want to rest up in it, build it. And I said, this is our going to be our where we have all our equipment, and then he moved in. This is gonna be where everybody's gonna watch. In other words, they can't come in through the control booth here, and then we're gonna have an upstairs. Because in the control booth, this is the down floor. He says, well, as they move the toilet paper, and then upstairs we're gonna have your office, the counter, and then we're gonna have a doctor up here. We're gonna have sports medicine upstairs on the balcony. And then I move forward. I sit on the floor. We're gonna have the floor, but the floor is gonna have give. We're gonna have give on it, so that way when we jump open, nobody's gonna have shin splints and bad knees and bad ankles. We're gonna have the floor give. He said, how are we gonna do that? I said, I don't know. And then I said, we're gonna have this. We're gonna have. And I said, we're gonna have all the bags here, the mirrors here. We're gonna have 2 rings here, and one's gonna have wheels so we can roll it to the center. We're gonna have ice there, and this and that. And he goes, and then all of a sudden I rolled. I said, and then we're gonna have a weight room. We're gonna have the most awesome weight room in there for strength work and so forth. The building, build sculpture in the bottom, and then upstairs on that we're gonna have the dormitory. And he said, what? I said, we're gonna have a dormitory underneath there on top. We're gonna have a dormitory. And he said, how are you gonna get up there? I said, we're gonna have a ladder that comes down, and you're gonna climb up there into the dorm. We're gonna have bunk. We're gonna have about maybe 20 people sleeping in there, and you can with a rope you can take it so nobody can go up in the dorm room and this and that. And he said, are you kidding me? And I said, I'm serious, brother. And he goes, hmm. He said, how much you gonna think it's gonna cost? I said, we'll build it ourselves. He says, I do all the woodwork and this and that. My brother, he does all the concrete work. You're a plasterer. Yeah, you can plaster this and that. You can do all the jacuzzis and all this. And he goes, how much money? I said, I don't know. So he brought in a guy and said, this is so we actually had somebody do this instead of toilet paper on paper.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he did it. He put it on paper, and he says, "Is this what you have on this toilet paper?" I said it has everything on it, but it says well put.
Yeah.
And so he's the one that put this underneath and then on top of this and that. But I said, yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking, and that's how it all became. And then we found a guy that said, I'll invest in it. I'll invest in it. And then he says,
And lo and behold, the Jet Center was born.
And it reminds me of when you were explaining it. You've heard of American Top Team. I'm sure they're basically a team that has a lot of UFC fighters, a lot of pro UFC fighters. They have I don't know, 6 or 7 different locations. Dustin Poirier used to go to the one down in Florida. It's exactly like that, but for pro MMA fighters. They have several different rooms, cages, floors to work jiu-jitsu and everything else, wrestling. They have dormitories, they have feeder rooms, they have business rooms, they have saunas, they have sports medicine. Everything you were just explaining, they have now. And it's pro fight camp, essentially. So you started that before that was a thing.
everyone to understand, in full contact karate in 73, the word kickboxing was born in 75, 76. Okay? The Jet Center was open to build the sport of
Yeah.
kickboxing around the world. And then in 90, what the Gracies came in 90s. And then in 93, in 94, the Jet Center was closed out from the earthquake.
But to back up a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you had everybody there.
Yeah.
I mean, you had you started. You had actors, and some of my friends, some some we know. I mean, you had Pete Cunningham, you had
At 7
Rick Rolfes. I mean, you had everybody coming through. In fact, your first encounter with Jean-Claude Van Damme
That's right.
was even before No Retreat, No Surrender. way back in the early
Right
80s,
to the jet
he
center.
used to come down there and hit the bag and stuff.
That's
And
awesome.
then actually the jet centers in No Retreat, No Surrender, they used the jet center for some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah,
Which
they did.
like
The fight scene where
he goes and fights Pete?
where he goes and fights Petey Cunningham, that's in the jet center.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I did not know that.
That's
That is so
yeah. And rocking ahead a little bit. Well, I don't know if we're rocking ahead, but you created your own system called Yikido.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that. What was the birth of that? When did that happen? And what was the inspiration behind it?
I have blackouts, and
First of all, what for the viewers, what does Yukido-kan mean? There's a very special meaning to it.
Yukido-kan means a way of life. You, my last name. Ki, it's a way of life. Do is a place, and kan, So I mean, if you really look at it, I took Yukido-kan and took for what it was stood in Japanese and put it together, and where the moment I said Yukido-kan in Japan, everybody knew exactly what I was saying.
So Yukido-kan is a blend of, take us through what the curriculum, what it's made up, what you put together.
The Yukido-kan, first of all, is made, when I say a way of life, because first in the street, there is no rules. You learn day by day how to survive, whether as an animal, as we are human animals, whatever. The point I'm making is, in the street, it's a reality real. So I made the Jet Center a place where people will come and learn the reality and have a home base for kickboxing. Eh? And kickboxing became any type of fighting, in the street, in the ring, boxing, grappling, any type of fighting. That's what I made the Jet Center for people around the world to come learn kickboxing, to take kickboxing to their country. And so this is what it was about.
So this is your first book,
That's right.
Training and Fighting Skills, Benny the Jet Urquidez, done by with Emil Farkas and Stuart Sabell.
That's right.
So talk to us. How did this come about? Talk to us.
Well, because
Did somebody, was this something you always wanted to do? Or was this someone said,
well,
someone,
let's
you
put
should
it this
do
way.
this?
How would I explain something when they said in Japan, what are you doing? Full contact karate. What is that? Why do kickboxing? What is that? So I say, well, kickboxing came out by some girl seeing me shadow box. I'm boxing using my legs. He said, what is that? I said, full contact karate. He said, it looks like you're boxing and then using your legs. And it just came out of my mouth. Yeah, I'm kickboxing. And I said, that's where this came from.
It's the epitome of
Because the
fighting.
word of kickboxing, I said, okay, if you have something, you have named something, what is it? So I started creating techniques. For what is kickboxing? Means, okay, this is what you can do. This is the kind of stuff you can do in kickboxing and so forth. Because now I found out that in Muay Thai, elbows and knees, I said, well, I'm not Muay Thai, I'm kickboxer. I do hook kicks, spin kicks, jump kicks, low kicks, this and that. I do elbows. Now I'm doing Muay Thai elbows and knees and clinching. Why? Because I got it from them. I said, okay, but I modified it for me. And so I took it and put it in this book to teach the world kickboxing. So when I say kickboxing, what you asked me about, this is what it is. Read it, take it, and tell me what you think about it. That's what I came up with the book on. So that way, now I had a name. What is kickboxing? I had a system. Because in the system, you have to have levels of growth. Beginning, intermediate, advanced is what it started with. And then it became a weight system. Featherweight, lightweight, junior lightweight, middleweight, and on and on. It became that way for weights. It's technique. in technique, you can do low kicks and this and this. But in the second level, you can do thigh kicks, punching, elbows and knees. And the third, so there was a system. I create a system level 1 through 10, but I only allow level 1 through 5. You cannot be assistant instructor without going to the understanding. When you level 5, then you can be an assistant instructor. That means you can teach the basic foundation of kickboxing. And that's what I left. This around the world, that they can teach in their language, they can teach their students, families, and create. Because I wanted to make it an Olympic sport, and the only way I can do that is to get people around the world having fighters that we can all compete each other in the Olympics. That was my thought.
Okay, fabulous. Sensei. We have like seven, you're probably maximum 7 minutes left. So Zach's going to go. So
Yeah.
so you'll know where the time is roughly
For
about
sure,
7 minutes
sure.
in the end. Zach's just going to bring this up. Then I'm going to ask you about a couple of fighters,
Sure.
legends in the world. You just give me one word: fabulous, brilliant, heart of a lion, whatever.
I want to know what he thinks about JC did this.
We'll ask him.
That'd be a good-
But ask him about this book now.
Yeah.
Please.
So Benny, I have this book that Tom gave to me. It was one of the first editions, apparently. It explained to me, which I thought was really awesome. You signed it. It's an awesome book. Talk us through this. How did this come about?
Well, first of all, the first book was about teaching what's kickboxing about. When I created a full contact, became kickboxing, took it to the world. Then people wanted to know, how did I become the jet? Where did the jet come from? How did I become the jet? What does the jet mean? What is that about? So I created this book, was about putting through all my experience around the world, taking the understanding of a fight game, putting it to a page of my resume. Because everybody was saying, well, how'd you become the jet? That's pretty much my resume of what I did and how I became the jet. It's not really who I am, but it's what I've done. That's why they call me the jet.
Yeah, it's something of legend. I mean, I know even as a kid, I knew exactly who you were. I don't even know how I found out.
You couldn't help but find out. You were all over the place.
Yeah, it was all over the place,
But
So
Sensei, a couple of questions on close up because I know we're
Yes,
on the
yes.
tight schedule and so on. I'm going to throw a few names at you, and then Zach has a question.
yes, sir.
Short statement or one word. Guys you know very well, guys you came up with, guys who were around since. Joe Louis.
Joe Louis was the most awesome heavyweight fighter I've seen. I know him since, matter of fact, I fought him back in '65, but I never seen a heavyweight move and so clean with that side hook. I've never seen a heavyweight move like him. And plus, good looking move.
Yeah.
He was good looking at the same time.
He was built.
Yeah.
He was shredded.
Next one, Bill Wallace.
Now, Bill Wallace, the Superfoot, I tell you what, how he got away with that left foot and that left hand, but you know what? He beat people with that front leg and that front hand. I have to admit that I mean he was awesome just with the left leg and the left hand. But more or less, if he knew how to hit, and I tried to teach him a spinning back kick, but he says his legs. He says just his front leg, not his back leg. And I always used to ask him about his back leg, but I think he was brilliant. He was brilliant with how he got away with that front leg and that front hand. Be people all over the world.
Chuck Norris.
Trevor Norris, I'll tell you what, I worked with him and I've known him for decades, and that man has the heart of a lion. Talking about Lionheart, they should have put right behind Lionheart, Trevor Norris is his name because again, he came up in that era of, I mean, I don't know, coming from the army and the marine, wherever he came from there, but I'll tell you what, in his mind, in his heart, fearless.
Ed Parker.
Mr. Parker talking about a philosopher. Talking about, this man will put you, just when he speaks, everybody shuts up and he puts you in your awe because he is so much wisdom, so much experience, so much understanding how to break things, how to break things down, how to break things down in such a way that I don't care what language you speak, you would understand it.
And responsible for the evolution of martial arts in America, without a doubt. He helped so many people, both within the martial arts and in the film industry. Louis Delgado.
I'm sorry?
Louis Delgado.
Oh, let me tell you, talking about, man of disaster, he had no fear when he came. When that man, matter of fact, I fought him from New York. I fought him, let me tell you, he was one that had one gear. When he grabbed and he came, he was awesome, man.
Ball.
Wall was, you know what? Talking about character, man. But he was incredible. You know what? I think he would have been more awesome if he didn't fight with such anger, man. He has such a temper.
He did have it. He's that Irish temper.
Oh my God.
Jerry Trimble. I love watching him fight.
You know what? I love watching him fight.
Yeah, Howard Jackson.
But you know what? Howard Jackson, God bless his soul, because I tell you what, that was one man. Not only I loved competing with him, but we had a lot of chances to do demonstrations together. And I tell you, that's one man I loved dearly with all my heart. He spoke the truth. He spoke what he meant. And when he said something, he did it.
I could keep going on. Zach, you've got
one last question. In regard to, Jean-Claude was a huge inspiration to me growing up as well. How do you feel he would have done if he would have decided to take, let's say, a competitive route as opposed to the movie route? Let's say he got into kickboxing. How do you think
to a living?
And did that for a living? How do you think he would have done?
You know, with proper training, I think, because he's a man with such dedication and such discipline, I think he would get well. How good? I think he could have been a contender. I don't know about being a champion, but I do know it's about being a contender. He had the heart for it. He's so disciplined and so forth. He's got a lot of discipline.
Sensei Ben, it's an honor and a privilege for both of us to have you here.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for